If I may have your attention, please. At this time, we're going to begin the service here in the sanctuary for Mrs. Naoma Cahr. As we begin the service, I would ask if any of you has a cell phone or any other noise-making device, please turn them off at this time. Officiating the services here today are Rabbi Michael Schwab and Hazan Jacob Sandler.
Mizmor LeDavid, Adonai roi lo echsar, binot deshe yarbitzeni, al mei menuchot, Yenaleini Nafshi Yishovev Yancheini v'maglei tzedek Yancheini v'maglei tzedek leman shemo gam ki elech begeitz al mavet lo irara ki ata imadi shivtecha umishantecha hema yinachamuni ta'aroch lefanai shulchan neged sorerai dishanta vashemen roshi kosi revaya ach tov v'chesed yirdefuni kol yemei chayai V'shavti beveit Adonai le'orech yami Adonai roi lo echsar Adonai roi lo echsar.
As the Chazan just recited Psalm 23 in the Hebrew, I'd ask everyone if you want to join me in the English to open your service folder and to read along with me in memory of Naoma. The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. He maketh me to lie down in green pastures. He leadeth me beside the still waters. He restoreth my soul. He leadeth me in the paths of righteousness for his name's sake. Yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil, for thou art with me. Thy rod and thy staff, they comfort me. Thou preparest a table before me in the presence of mine enemies. Thou anointest my head with oil. My cup runneth over. Surely goodness and mercy shall follow me all the days of my life, and I shall dwell in the house of the Lord forever. I'm also going to recite from Psalm 15, which speaks about a person of integrity, and Naoma was certainly that and many things more. Mizmor LeDavid, Adonai mi agor bo'alecha, mi yishkon b'har kodshecha, הולך תמים ופועל צדק ודובר אמת בלבבו. לא רגל על לשונו, לא עשה לרעהו רע וחרפה לא נשא על קרובו. נבזה בעיניו נמאס ואת יראי אדוני יכבד. נשבע לרע ולא ימיר. כספו לא נתן בנשך, ושוחד הנקי לא לקח. עושה אלה לא ימות לעולם. Psalm of David. Do we deserve to enter into God's sanctuary? Can we merit a place in the presence of God? Live with integrity, do what is right, speak the truth, have no slander upon your tongue, do no evil to others, do not mistreat your neighbor, spurn those who are contemptible, honor those who revere God, never retract a promise once made, though it may bring you harm. Lend no money at unfair rates, accept no bribe against the innocent. Make these deeds your own, and you shall stand firm forever. Naoma's character and the deeds that she lived her life by make sure that her memory and her legacy will indeed stand firm forever. When I was talking to Michael the other night and he was talking about Naoma, he talked about her in such a beautiful way. It reminded me of the verses from Proverbs that we recite at the Shabbos dinner table to the woman of the house. Many of you know it, it's Eshet Chayil. I'm going to read parts of it in English so that you understand the type of woman that she was. What a precious find is an Eshet Chayil, a woman of valor. Her worth is far beyond rubies. Her husband puts his confidence in her and lacks no good thing. She is good to him, never bad, all the days of her life. She opens her hand to those in need, extends herself to those who are poor. She is clothed with strength and splendor. She looks to the future cheerfully. She opens her mouth with wisdom, and her tongue is always guided by kindness. She never eats the bread of idleness. Her children come forward and bless her. Her husband praises her and says, "Many women have indeed done superbly, but you surpass them all." Charm is deceitful and beauty vain, but a God-fearing woman is much to be praised. Extol her for the fruit of her hands. Wherever people gather, her deeds will always speak her praise. Amen. One last reading that I thought of for today. There's a great philosopher in Jewish tradition, ancient philosopher named Ben Sira, and the title of this is Parents as Teachers, and of course she was both. When parents who have taught their children pass on, that passing is never death. As long as the child lives, there's a part of that parent that can never die. When alive, a parent rejoices with her children, and especially even when they're grandchildren. And in death, that parent will never grieve, for she knows that her legacy will be passed down l'dor vador, from one generation to the next. Speaking of the generations, I'm going to call on Darren, her son, to say some words, and is also going to read his father's eulogy in memory of Naoma. Adjust this as you want. There's water here. There's tissues on here. Thank you.
I've said a lot of things in the obituary that I helped write for my mom, but the one thing that will resonate the most with me forever was the fact that her original job, and really her forever job, was being a teacher. And it's easy to think about being a teacher as essentially being someone who sits down with a lesson plan and tells you things you need to know, but that wasn't the kind of teacher my mom was. She was someone who understood that the most important things you needed to learn were some things that you couldn't tell someone. They were things that you had to see and experience with someone. And she taught me and Michelle and all of our family, and Ian and Molly, that knowing how to play was important, that knowing how to love was important, that getting on the floor and getting your hands dirty was important, that actually not taking yourself too seriously was important, that connecting with other people was important, And it's unfortunate that it happened so late in her life, but the only benefit of some of her recent travails was the fact that we got to spend so much time with her. And Sandy and I would go up almost every single weekend for the past 10 years to go see her and to hang out with her. And sometimes it was with my dad when he was there, and sometimes when my dad had to be with Michelle and Molly, it was just the three of us. And we had so much fun. And it was just a reminder of just how funny she was and how she never stopped teaching us about those important things, even when it was so late. And I remember there was a moment when we were talking about Bob Fosse, and she loved Bob Fosse musicals. She loved the dark humor, she loved the dancing, and we were joking about how much fun she had and how much she missed actually going to these shows. And she said, "But we have a lot of people in our family who have that kind of drama." And she may have been referring to certain unnamed individuals who know who they are. And at that moment, it was like we were just all in sync with each other. She immediately, and this was fairly late, and she had all sorts of physical ailments that made it hard for her to move, but she was incredibly fluid and it all came back to her. She immediately, like she was a Bob Fosse dancer, did this. And Sandy did this, and I did this. And we all did it at the same moment without thinking, and we just laughed, cracked up, couldn't stop laughing. And that's how I remember her, as someone whose primary lesson was that we shouldn't forget to laugh, and that we shouldn't forget that there's a reason we're here, and that's to teach other people how to laugh too. And my dad asked me to read this for him. And while I don't know that I can do this the justice that it would be if he were, just imagine that I'm him. My mom would have insisted that I try to imitate him, but I'll, out of deference to him, I won't do that. I stand here today with a heart that is heavy, but also full of love, gratitude, and memories of my wonderful wife, Naoma Cahr. After our marriage in 1964, she was a trooper as we moved around the country from coast to coast for my job. It was not easy for this small town lady so attached to her New York family to handle so much, but she did, and we grew together. Unfortunately, for the past 10 years, Naoma faced one health challenge after another, but if you knew her, you knew that she never let those struggles take her spirit. She showed courage every single day, and she somehow still managed to smile, encourage me, and love our family and friends. She was the heart of our family. She raised our two children, Darren and Michelle, with such love, patience, and wisdom. She didn't just tell them how to live, she showed them how to live with kindness and strength and a Jewish soul. And now when I look at them as the adults and parents they have become, I see her everywhere. And then in our later years, something came which she considered her promotion in life, and that was becoming a grandmother. Our two grandchildren, Ian and Molly, were her pride and joy. But since they were born 20 years apart, she had the opportunity to have unique experiences with each. When Ian was born in 1999, delivered by Aunt Phyllis, Naoma couldn't have been more ecstatic. As he grew, she enjoyed playing with him on the floor of our home on Saxony Drive. They created so many unusual constructions and enjoyed showing them off to me with great pride. Molly Sarah, named for Naoma's mother and mine, was a wonderful and beautiful surprise for us in 2020. Although Naoma was able to see Molly in person only infrequently, she treasured those visits and enjoyed talking with her precious granddaughter regularly via FaceTime. Now, those of you who knew Naoma well know she also had a playful streak. She could find humor in almost everything and laughed so easily. She went back and forth on puns and jokes, particularly with Darren, who told some pretty bad ones. I can attest to that. For me, Naoma was my partner, my friend, and my sounding board. We built a 61-year life together that was full of love, laughter, challenges, and fulfilled dreams. We appreciated each other and were grateful for the blessings life gave us. Her illness may have been part of her story, but it was never the story. The story of her life was love, the love she gave to her children, her grandchildren, her friends, and to me. And while today we feel her absence, I also feel her presence. I hear her voice in our children, I see her joy in our grandchildren, and I carry her love and support with me. Before concluding, I must mention the word nice, because while lots of people in the world can be categorized as nice, Naoma was nice to everyone for every minute of her life. I also need to mention Kathy Mandler, who was the most devoted and wonderful friend any human being could ever have. She was her special lifeline and mine too. Thank you to all for coming today and honoring Naoma and supporting our family. It is much appreciated by all of us. Thank you.
Thank you. Beautiful words. I'm now going to call up her grandson, Ian, to share some of his own words. Tissues are here. Water's here. Thank you. Sorry, I need a second.
My grandma was incredible with me since I was a young child. I was her only grandchild for 20 years, and she was always there for me. We would sit on the floor playing for hours with all of mine and my dad's old toys, even his old toys that had the lead paint on them, much to the dismay of everyone. She had saved them in hopes that I would be able to enjoy them the same as he did one day, whether it was Legos, blocks, or making up complex stories and songs based on our adventures. Every moment with her was unique as could be. As I grew older and did not live in Chicago, our relationship changed from the floor to the phone. She would answer every call and be like, "Ian, is that really you? Is that the famous Ian Cahr?" And it always made me smile because she really did treat every person as if they were famous and ask them questions about their life and make them feel special. Telling her about my day and my activities was one of my favorite things to do. I loved sharing with her because she was so receptive and inquisitive about life and always reflected on her own incredible memories in contrast to mine. Her memory is a blessing, and the lessons she has taught me about compassion, creativity, and care will be with me forever. Thank you.
Before I begin some of my remarks, I just want to thank Michael for his time to spend with me, sharing his thoughts about Naoma, and for the beautiful obituary that was written that was really full of important characteristics and details of her life, from which I drew upon for this eulogy. I know that we come together today with broken hearts to honor and remember a woman whose very name, Naoma, evokes the sweetness of kindness and warmth from the Hebrew word Noam. The rabbis teach us in the seminal work Pirkei Avot, Ethics of the Ancestors, that the world stands on three things: on Torah, on service to God, and on acts of loving kindness. If ever there was a life that reflected this teaching, it was Naoma's. She lived the passions of learning and teaching. She filled her home with beauty of Jewish holidays and traditions, and she infused every relationship, as you heard and as you know, with extraordinary kindness. Therefore, at this time, I want to extend my condolences and those of our community here at North Suburban Bethel to her wonderful family, to her devoted husband, Michael, to her devoted children, Darren and Sandra, as well as to Michelle, to her adored grandchildren, Ian and Molly, to her loving siblings, Phyllis, to Sid, to Stephen, and to all of our treasured family and friends. My prayer is that the words we share and the traditions of our people provide you with some measure of comfort at a difficult time. As some of you know, Naoma grew up in a religious home, deeply influenced by her beloved mother, who was a matriarch of her family and always opened her doors to family and friends. That sense of welcome, of making a home into a gathering place filled with love, was certainly something that Naoma carried forward throughout her life. She became in her own right a matriarch, gathered family and friends and her community around her table, and most importantly, around her heart. Those who knew Naoma described her as one of the nicest people to ever walk the face of the earth. I was told that, and certainly with me, never happened. She never raised her voice. She was always willing to help when called upon, and she was the truest kind of friend one could have. She embodied what our tradition calls an neshama tahora, a pure and generous soul. She was a true mensch in every sense of the word, and her kindness was remarkable. But I also want to share, after having spoken with Michael, that Naoma's resilience was almost as impressive as her kindness. In her last decade, she faced Parkinson's and other challenges, but she never gave up. She fought every day with strength and positivity, with laughter and with love, pushing herself through physical therapy, using her walker, all the other things that happened in the doctor's offices, and accepting the needed help of her devoted caregivers and, of course, of Michael. That kind of determination and courage should teach all of us what it means to value the gift of life. Naoma's life as a teacher shaped a great deal of what she did. As some of you may know or have read, she was the first in her extended family to attend college, studying education at SUNY Cortland and earning a master's in educational psychology from Columbia. Her career in Muncie schools was only the beginning of her career as a teacher, because though she left the classroom, she never stopped teaching. She raised her children with devotion, teaching them to love reading, to love learning, and to love life. She played with them, she taught them, and she laughed with them. And as you heard, she did the same for her grandchildren, always coming up with creative activities, playing on the floor, making them laugh with silly songs and puns. And she had an adventurous side. As you may have read, she traveled across America and Europe in the early 60s with her best friend, driving to few places tourists ever went. She was a pioneer not only in her family's education, but in her sense of curiosity and independence. Naoma also carried a love of culture and joy. She loved music and theater, the Lyric, Chicago Symphony, the Goodman, Steppenwolf, and she was, as Michael told me, a phenomenal dancer. She and Michael took ballroom dancing lessons and went out for the sheer fun of dancing together. He told me she made him look good on the dance floor, and they had so much fun together. She brought out the joy with everyone that she was with. Naoma was a deeply creative soul. She played piano, she could sing, she painted, she sculpted. Her music and her art fills her home, and her spirit filled everyone who knew her. As you heard, she loved to laugh, she loved to joke, she simply loved to share joy with the people that she loved. Jewish tradition and family gatherings were central to her. The holidays she hosted were not just meals, but sacred, joyous celebrations. Both sets of parents from both sides came. She made sure the table overflowed with love and care. Gathering family around Jewish traditions was very meaningful to her, and so was this community to both Michael and Naoma. They are devoted members of Bethel for decades, and they made a lot of their really close friends here. And Bethel was always very important to her, and we appreciate that very, very much. And Naoma also gave to the broader community, whether as a welcome wagon representative in Highland Park, helping new neighbors feel at home, or as a friend that people could turn to, she was always there. When a play needed a makeup artist, you could count on her. When someone needed wise counsel, she was there to give it. When anyone simply needed kindness, they knew who to turn to. The rabbis also teach us in the Talmud, quote, "In the merit of righteous women, our ancestors were redeemed from Egypt." Naoma lived in that spirit of righteousness. She redeemed many around her from whatever loneliness or trouble that they were going through her warmth, her wisdom, her laughter, and her love. She made people into better versions of themselves just by being in their lives. In the end, Naoma's legacy is not only in the stories we tell about her, but hopefully in the way that you and I will all carry her light forward, in her children, in her grandchildren, in her family and friends, who will continue to host, to dance, to laugh, to sing, and to lead with kindness. I want to share to our beloved caregivers, and I apologize if I pronounce anybody's name wrong, Amelia, Anya, Natalia, Hannah, and Grecia, to say thank you on behalf of the family for your devotion. And to her family, we say, may the memory of Naoma Cahr always be for a blessing. May we honor her by living with kindness, joy, generosity, and love of Judaism and life. Tizi Chra Brucha, may the memory of Naoma Cahr, Nechama Bat Yosef Amalka, may it always be a blessing. And let us say, Amen. I'm going to ask, if you can, to please stand, as the Chazan will now recite the memorial prayer in her memory.
El Malei Rachamim Shochein Bameromim Hamitzei Menucha Nechona Tachat Kanefei HaShekhinah B'ma'alot Kedoshim Kedoshim Utehorim Kizohar Arakia Mazirim Et Nishmat Nechama Bat Yosef V'Malka Shehalakha Le'olama Began Eden Tehei Menuchata Ana Ba'al Rachamim Hasdirea B'Seter Knafecha Le'olamim Utzror B'Tzror Achayim Et Nishmata Adonai Hu Nachalata V'tanuach b'shalom al mishkava v'nomar Amen.
Exalted, compassionate God, grant infinite rest in your sheltering presence among the holy and the pure, to Naoma Cahr, Nechama Bat Yosef Amalka, who's gone to her eternal home. Merciful One, we ask that she find eternal embrace, perfect peace, and may her soul be bound up in the bond of everlasting life. May she always rest in peace, and let us say, Amen. Amen. You may be seated.
This concludes the service here in the sanctuary. The interment will take place immediately at the family's plots at Memorial Park Cemetery, 9900 Grosse Pointe Road in Skokie. You're all invited to join the family for the burial, but there will not be a formal procession. And make your way to the cemetery on your own. It's at the intersection of Old Orchard Road and Grosse Pointe Road, 9900 Grosse Pointe Road. Following the service, the family will be sitting Shiva at 260 Whistler Road, Unit 2C in Highland Park. That information's on the funeral service folder. Just a note, when you arrive, you will see signs resident parking only. We've communicated with the Highland Park Police. They will not be enforcing that until after 9 p.m. tonight, just so you're aware of that. Please also note that the family has asked for donations to be made to the Michael J. Fox Foundation. That information's on the funeral service folder you should have received. If you did not receive one, we have them available for you. The information's also on the website that those watching online are currently on. At this time, I would ask these persons to step forward and act as pallbearers. Bruce Marks, Ian Carr, Jackson Petrie, Justin Petrie, Debbie Dreyer, and Jennifer Gartenberg. I'd ask everyone to please rise as the deceased family and clergy are escorted. And again, pallbearers, please step forward.
our friends at the cemetery get ready to lower the casket, I'm going to recite from Psalm 121. Shir Lamalot, Esayin Elohim, Yain Yavo Esri, Esri Meim Adonai Oseh Shamayim Va'aretz, Ayitin Lamot, Raglecha Yanum Shorecha, Hine Le'anum V'lo Yishan Shomer Yisrael, Adonai Shomerecha, Adonai Tzilcha Yad Yeminecha, Yom HaShemesh Li'akecha V'yareach V'layla, Adonai Yishmorcha Mikol Ra Yishmor Et Nafshecha, Adonai Yishmor Tzidcha U'V'lecha Me'ata V'yad Olam. A song for ascents. I turn my eyes to the mountains. From where will my help come? My help comes from God, maker of heaven and earth. God will not let your foot give way. Your guardian will not slumber. The guardian of Israel neither slumbers nor sleeps. God is your protection, a guardian at your right hand. By day the sun will not strike you, nor the moon by night. God will guard you from all harm and guard your life. God guards your going and your coming now and forevermore. Al Mikoma, Tavo V'Shalom. May Naoma Cahr go unto God in peace, and let us say, Amen. I'm now going to recite a prayer called Siddur Kadin, declaring God is righteous even at a time when we question God's judgment. Hatzur tamim polo ki chod rachav mishpat elamuna v'navel tzadik v'yasharhu. Hatzur tamim b'chol poal miyomar lo matifa shalif v'mata v'mal v'midu v'chayeh morid shol v'ya'al. Hatzur tamim b'chol maaseh miyomar lo mataseh omer v'oseh chesed shinam lo nitaseh v'izkutan ekad kasak shiva v'oseh. Tzadik b'chol rachav hatzur tamim erech alpayim amalei racham kamona v'chusna l'vot uvanim Yilach Adonai Slichot V'Rachamim. HaTzadik Adonai Lamid L'Chayon Asher B'Yadcha Pikon Kol Ruchot Chalil Lecha Zichronei L'Chot Yunai Necha B'Racham L'Oin Pekukot Ki Lecha Adonai Rachamim V'Haslichot Adami Ben Shanayel Asherim Yikiyama Yitron Lo Kuaya Yeh Baruch Dayan HaEmet Mimit U'Merchayeh Baruch Hu Ki Emet Ino Imishotei Kol Beino Mishalem Ladam Cheshbono V'Dino Kol Lishmo Hodaya Yitzeinu Yadanu Adonai Kitzeg Mishpatecha Tzitzdak B'Dvarecha V'Tizkeh B'Shovtecha Ve'mar Herach Hamidat Shovtecha Tzadik Adonai V'Yashar Mishpatecha Ve'Emet Shovet Tzedek V'Emet Baruch Dayan Emet Shekol Mishpatav Tzedek V'Emet Nefesh kol chai biyadecha, tzedek malay yaminecha, rachem al plitat son yadecha, v'tomar l'malach heref yadecha. Gedol ha'etzav rav halya, asher inecha pikukot kol derchei b'nei adam, v'atziv li'ish gidracha v'chri me'alav, v'lagiki asher Adonai tzri v'lo v'atabo. Adonai melech, Adonai melech, Adonai melech elam v'le, Adonai etam Adonai lakach, Yishem Adonai mevarach. Baruch Mechaper Von V'lo Yashpit V'Bala Shiva Povler Kol Chamato Adonai Yoshia Melchanenu V'Yom Korenu. The perfect rock whose work we perceive reveals a faithful God, true, upright, and honest. God rules below and on high, causing death and giving life, bringing down to the grave but raising us up as well. The rock is inscrutable. The rock is unfathomable, but just and patient and filled with compassion. You are just, Adonai, our God, in the giving and in the taking. Your hand is in the essence of all spirit. You would never permit the impacts we make to fade. So consider us keenly, for you are the master of compassion and forgiveness. We know, God, that your discretion is beyond us. We know, God, that your word is good, but your judgments, they do at times puzzle us. And though we may brood over harsh realities, we place our trust in your righteousness, and we must accept our loss and treasure the love that remains with us forever. Have mercy upon us, strengthen us to maintain our courage at this time of sorrow. Adonai Natan, the Lord has given, Adonai Lakach, the Lord has taken. Yehi Shem Adonai Mevarach, praised be the name of God. Vayashov ha'afar ha'aretz k'shaya v'ruach tashuv el Elohim asher natana. The dust returns to the earth as it was, but the spirit returns to God who gave it. May Naoma Cahr's soul be bound up in the bond of life eternal. Send comfort, God, to those who mourn. Grant us strength to those whose burden is sorrow. And let everyone here say, Amen. friends at the cemetery continue to help prepare the grave, we are going to stand if we are able as I recite the memorial prayer for Naoma at this time. Naoma lerachamim shokain pamromim hamitzei menucha nechona tachat kanvei hashchina v'malot kedoshim utorim kazorah kiyamasirim enishmat nechama bat Yosef v'malka shelcha leolama v'gan eden zei menucha ta ana balarachamim astirei v'seter kenafecha leolamim v'utzror v'tzror chaim enishmata ana yonachalata v'tenuk v'shalom al mishkava Naoma, Amen. Exalted, compassionate God, grant infinite rest in your sheltering presence among the holy and the pure, to the soul of Naoma Cahr, Nechama bat Yosef Amalka, who has gone to her eternal home. Merciful One, we ask that our loved one find perfect peace in your eternal embrace. May her soul be bound up in the bond of everlasting life. May she always rest in peace. Let us once again say, Amen. We're now going to recite the Mourner's Kaddish. It's in your service folder. For the immediate family, if you could recite the Mourner's Kaddish along with me, please. Yitzkadal, Yitkadash, Shemei Rabah, V'yalma, Tibrach, Yirutei, V'yamlik, Malchutei, V'chai Yechon, V'yom Yechon, V'chai V'chol Beit Yisrael, V'agalal, V'zman Kariv, V'imru, Amen. Yehi Shmei Rabba Mvorach, V'olam L'amei Almaya. Yitbarach, v'yishtabach, v'yitpa'ar, v'yitroman, v'yitnaseh, v'yitadar, v'yitaleh, v'yitalal, shmei d'kudusha, b'rechu, le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata, tushbechata v'nechamata, d'amiran v'yalmar v'imru amen. Yehi shlama rabba min shemaya, v'chaim aleinu v'yal kol Yisrael v'imru amen. Oseh shalom v'imramav, v'yaseh shalom. Aleinu v'yal kol Yisrael v'imru. Amen. May her memory be for a blessing. It is the Jewish tradition that it is we, her family, her friends, her community members that help put her to a final rest. That's why it's considered one of the highest levels of mitzvah that you can do to participate in the burial, as hard as it may be. Considered to be a chesed shalom, a true act of loving kindness. I'm going to invite everybody, family first, to participate. There are a few customs, if you'd like to follow them, that we use to kind of mark this as the special mitzvah that it truly is. That when we do at least 3 shovelfuls to show that it's something substantial that we're doing. Second, we don't pass the shovel to the next person like we're in a rush. We put the shovel back in the earth. You can hold it there so it doesn't fall down for the next person. And the third is that some people, for the first shovelful, instead of doing the normal way that your shovel goes, turn the shovel upside down and just push it in, because you would never do that in a normal act of shoveling. It reminds you that this is a mitzvah. So I'm going to ask the family first. I don't know if there are any instructions for safety.
Watch your step, please.
Just watch your step and be careful. I think there is room if people feel comfortable going from that side, but certainly from that side.
If you feel comfortable, there's a path to doing it here. I think people with less steady on their feet might want to go on the other side. If you want to try it, push the first in. Anybody else who'd like to participate, you can come on either side. You can form a recline. Anybody who's less steady on their feet, you might want to try the other side. Want any help? Okay. A little bit of a far reach once we get a little closer.
Steve, we should do more.
This side is hard. From this side it's hard. There's not a lot of space, but it's up to you. I think you'd be better off on that side. Let me help you want help. Get another shovel? No, only two. That's the rule. Only two. Okay. I know, but Maybe you get a few of the younger guys to come over and help out on either side.
I got it.
Yeah, no, I'm okay. Well, we should go as far as we can. They don't have a truck, so. I asked them for more shovels. Roll out it or 2 shovels. Other cemeteries not like that. You could make sure you fill. You're on this side, so you fill here. So make sure you fill on the sides. I can. Here. We're young. Maybe somebody. You want to rotate on this side also?
I feel better. I'm sorry. I apologize.
We want to make sure we at least cover all around the ball. So for example, here we use this one over here. I'm also happy to help. Folks, in a few minutes, we're going to be finished with the burial. At that time, I'm going to ask anybody who's not in the immediate family to make 2 lines facing each other, with creating a corridor that the immediate family is going to walk in between. And we'll do that, from here to the road. I'll let you know when we're ready. All right, everyone. If we can make 2 lines facing each other with the immediate family staying up at the top over here with me. Make 2 lines facing each other like this. Yep. People on the other side too. Yeah. There you go. Make your line on this side of me. This side of me. Thank you, gentlemen. Family, join me and walk. As you make your way into the shiva period, I want you to remember that you're in the line, if you know the traditional words that they pass by, you can say them. Shamakom, Yinachem, Echem, Tov Shar, Avaletiun, Yerushalayim. May God comfort you amongst all the mourners of Zion and Jerusalem. Amen. Thank you very much. That concludes our service.
I look forward to talking with you.
And
As Rabbi said, this does conclude the service. Anyone wishing to stay and watch the final covering of the grave is welcome to do so. Otherwise, you may return to your cars.